Our girl Amy Horton is at it again, gentlemen. She recently wrote an article entitled, "I'm incapable of trusting men and it is ruining my relationships." What men who have unplugged from the Matrix understand about the title of this article is that Miss Horton here has been ran through a lot. How do we know this? Easy. She says she doesn't trust men. And men here know that any woman who says, "I don't trust men," or "I have a hard time trusting men," is telling us in no uncertain terms that she's been around the block several dozens of hundreds of times. And a woman with that kind of, quote, experience is never ever good for a long-term relationship. Oh sure, she's great for a little short-term fun, but anything outside of a string of nail-and-bails is off limits with women just like this. So let's dive right in here and find out why Miss Horton doesn't trust men, shall we? She starts, "I'm not sure where my mistrust of men originated, but it's there whether I like it or not. I constantly try to change my frame of mind. Unfortunately, that's not an easy task. My paranoia and anxiety regarding my romantic relationships end up dooming them to fail." Ay, one paragraph in and she's already told on herself. But before I go in on Miss Horton, remember to like, subscribe, and share this video if you think my work is important. I would also like to announce the release of the Congruence Test Compendium, also known in these parts as the Poop Test Guide. The Congruence Test Compendium contains over 100 of the most common tests that women throw your way to test your mettle and self-confidence in any and all situations. Not only do I cover these tests, I give you the proper response and context so you can pass these tests with flying colors and actually understand why. I cover tests women deploy when you're trying to chat them up. I cover the ones that happen when girls try to catch you off guard and throw you off your game. I even cover tests that girlfriends and wives deploy in relationships. So whether you're living the player life, in a committed relationship, or transitioning between either lifestyle, the Congruence Test Compendium will take your game to the next level. Plus, I'm also including the Gold Digger's Guide. The Gold Digger's Guide contains over 40 of the most common questions that women ask when they are planning to take advantage of you financially. And keep in mind that gold diggers these days aren't just targeting rich guys. They're targeting all men regardless of financial status. Why? Because they know that thirsty men will give them money and resources a lot easier than rich guys do. The Gold Digger's Guide will help you keep your hard-earned cash in your pocket and out of the greedy paws of these deceitful females. As a bonus, you will also get the Masculine Excellence Lifestyle Kit, which contains over 50 hours of content that cannot be found anywhere. It contains the Legends Archive with over 24 episodes with Rollo Tomasi, Illimitable Man, and Alan Roger Curry. It also has the Fitness Guide, which contains every episode I've ever done with diet and nutrition expert Myron Gaines and much, much more. The Congruence Test Compendium, the Gold Digger's Guide, and the Masculine Excellence Lifestyle Kit will be available on October 9th at 40% off for a limited time only. If you'd like to be notified the moment it drops, text the word TEST to 313-313. If you'd like to be put on the waiting list, go to donovansharp.com/newsletter. Now keep in mind that if you've enrolled in Womanese 101 or Womanese Volume 2, that you already have access to all of this material. Okay, let's get back to this dumpster fire. When Amy Horton says she doesn't know where her mistrust of men originated, she is lying through her teeth. She knows damn well where her mistrust originated, but because she knows the origins paint her in a bad light, she feigns ignorance in order to garner sympathy. Girls do this all the time, guys. They make bad decision after bad decision, and when the bill finally comes due, they act like they have no idea as to why they're single with 3 kids by 3 different men, broke, unemployed, and a side chick to Dave the unemployed garage band guitar player who may or may not have felony warrants in multiple states. Do not fall for this tactic, gentlemen. Women are well aware of why they are where they are in life, and they know it's their own fault. Do not feel sorry for these broads or offer support. They've made their bed, and now they're going to lay in it. Alone. I get insecure, she says, when I catch feelings. It's all well and good until I begin to really care for a guy. Then all my fear set in hardcore and the voices in my head begin whispering. It doesn't matter how little cause my man gives me to mistrust him, I'm terrified that I'll get hurt. This is the direct result of messing with the wrong kinds of guys for too long. She slept around for so long and fell for so many Kevins and Sales that she's always waiting for the other shoe to drop when she starts catching feelings. She literally verifies this in a previous article she wrote entitled, "I'm done sacrificing myself for guys who don't give a damn about me." So why is Miss Horton always waiting for the other shoe to drop? Simple. Because she knows that it's only a matter of time before Kevin and Sales cheats on her. You would think that women who get used and abused as much as they have, that they would wise up and start looking for decent guys to settle down with. But the female id here in 2020 renders them blind to all the flashing warning signs. And what ends up happening is that they make the same mistakes with the same kinds of guys again and again and again. Sooner or later, she gets PTSD, which is post-traumatic sausage disorder, because she knows Kevin's already got his eye on the hot barista at the local coffee shop and openly flirts with her in front of her. She continues, I secretly believe that all men have the inclination to cheat. I understand that this isn't fair, she says, and I try to change my perspective. Feeling this jaded about relationships is not my first choice. I don't want to think poorly of men, but I've seen very little to change my mind to the contrary. It is comedically tragic that today's women always seem to think that highlighting male cheating automatically absolves them of their cheating. Yes, men cheat, but women cheat more. A lot more. OMG, Donovan, you have no proof or studies to back that up. I don't need studies, sweet cheeks. All I have to do is look around. And the simple fact is that women cheat more because they have more opportunities. Don't believe me? Run this little scenario in your mind. A great-looking guy and an average-looking girl are released in a big city and told to sleep with as many people as humanly possible in 30 days. Who do you think will have the higher notch count at the end of the month? Yeah, I thought so. Amy can feel jaded all she wants, but you can bet your bottom dollar that she's cheated on just about every guy she's ever committed to. And the ones she didn't were simply the ones who got the drop on her before she could jump into bed with another guy. Cry me a river. I worry that guys aren't honest with me, she continues. Again, I should try to keep the faith until someone actually breaks my trust. Even when a man is straightforward, I'm afraid that he'll do anything if he thinks he can get away with it. I know trust is the cornerstone of a good relationship, so I'm probably screwed. Correction, Miss Horton, you are screwed. And so is every guy you become romantically involved with. Women like Amy never seem to understand that they have to proactively build a man's trust, especially if he's high value. But when they get dumped out of the blue, they blame the guy for not being straightforward with her about his intentions. As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. And when she's had the attention and commitment of high-value men in her 20s, she always kept a few guys on the back burner and foolishly believed the guys she was dating weren't aware of her monkey-swinging ways. Plus, anytime a woman thinks a guy will get away with whatever he wants means she's done the same in her past. Amy tells on herself again with this obvious inverse projection. I have spells, she says, of intense paranoia where I convince myself I'm being cheated on. This is never the guy's fault, she says. Sometimes it's driven by hormonal changes. Sometimes I'm just feeling insecure or vulnerable. Regardless, it's not fair to him or good for my mental health. I make myself crazy. There's that PTSD again, guys. Sausage edition. This again is simply a direct result of messing with the wrong guys for far too long. Mess around with enough Daves and Kevins, and eventually you're going to catch the insecure and vulnerable Tourette's, which pairs very well with that PTSD of hers. God help any guy who wanders into her clutches. I'm sure that as soon as I let myself care, I'll get hurt. In my defense, she says, this happens a lot. As soon as I finally let my guard down with a guy, he freaks out and runs away from me. It never seems to matter how much he claims to like me. I'm really tired of the same old bleep happening. Now I'm convinced every guy will pull the rug out from under me. Amy, this is happening to you for two reasons. Number one, the guys you care about are far too high on the dating market totem pole for you. And number two, you're too stupid to realize that high-value guys are just running game on you to get you into bed, and you fall for it every time. There are women like this everywhere. These women actually believe that they deserve the best guys out there. These chicks are so delusional that when the executive at the Fortune 500 company they met on seeking arrangements tells her, I've never felt this way before, they actually start entertaining thoughts of marriage, children, the white picket fence, and their happily ever after. Sweetheart, you are on the wrong side of 30 with a body count into the hundreds, at least 3 abortions, 2 tattoos, and one hell of an attitude problem. The only thing you're good for is a lay. Quit letting these high-value men fool you into thinking you're anything more than that. You'll be much happier. I have to hold myself back, she says, from revealing my crazy thoughts. It's a necessary constraint, she says. Some things just shouldn't be brought out into the open. I know that my paranoia will eventually pass and that there's no point in creating conflict because of it. Still, it puts a strain on my interactions with my partner. I'm not good at hiding feelings. Neuroticism is a plague among today's females. They go absolutely mental when they're triggered by the most insignificant things. But I've got bad news for Miss Horton. Her paranoia is never going away. Again, once you've been pumped and dumped by enough bad boy players, there's no coming back from that. The line of demarcation is unofficially 5 for most women, give or take 1 or 2 in either direction. What this means is that the 5th player in any given woman's life who pulls a nail and bail on her puts her past the point of no return. In other words, after she gets banged and bounced on by guy number 5, she will likely never have a relationship of consequence with a man she respects and loves. And this is exactly why most women these days are neurotic and go absolutely mental over meaningless nonsense. And no man, unplugged or not, is going to want to stick around to deal with that. I don't care how great she is in the bedroom. I'm always actively talking myself out of my fears. I know that the guys I date would feel terrible if they knew I feel this way. I also know that my anxiety is usually unfounded. This makes me frustrated, but those nagging voices in my head keep at it. I just don't trust men. It is astonishing how powerful a woman's delusions are. The truth is staring Amy right in the face, but she still believes that her anxiety is unfounded. Now, she hedged a little bit when she said usually unfounded, which tells us that a small part of her psyche is keeping it real. But those nagging voices are her conscience telling her, look, Amy, you've been plowed by too many bad boys not to feel anxious when you start catching feelings for a guy who is clearly a bad boy. Had Amy changed her ways about, 2 decades ago, she wouldn't be in this predicament now. She continues, I sabotage and start fights because of my insecurities. I try my best to keep my feelings to myself, but that doesn't always work. I act strangely and fight with men about other things in my attempts to hide what feels like craziness. It's all a giant mess. She said, hide what feels like craziness. Newsflash, Miss Horton, you are crazy. And the reason you are crazy is because you've been rode hard and put away wet way too many times. This is why we tell women not to sleep around. They're not designed to give their bodies to hundreds of men. They can't handle it physically and definitely not mentally. When you sleep around in your 20s, and in Miss Horton's case, your 30s too, you get hot dog in a hallway syndrome downstairs and craziness upstairs. It's inevitable. This is why I always tell my guys that if a woman you're seeing starts fights out of nowhere over nothing, bounce like a bad check and block her number. Women who sleep around always end up crazy. This is what happens when women act like men in their romantic lives. I have no idea where this mistrust comes from, but it's stubborn AF. It does not seem to matter what kind of guy I date. I always fear the worst. As far as I know, I've never been cheated on before. Perhaps it stems from all of the awful things I've seen happen to my friends. Either way, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And there you have it. She just told on herself, guys. She said that she's never been cheated on as far as she knows. But then she always fears the worst. Want to know what that means? It means she's a serial cheater, and here's how I know this. Women believe in the ridiculous notion of karma. They believe that what goes around comes around. So when a woman expresses that she always fears the worst, which is infidelity, but then turns around and says she's never been cheated on, she's admitting to us in plain English that she cheats. Otherwise, why would she fear getting cheated on if it's never happened to her before? Let a woman talk long enough and she always tells on herself. Never forget that. I literally don't believe that a man can stay faithful long term, she continues. Of course, I know that there are men out there who have never cheated on their partners. I guess I don't believe that anyone will stay faithful to me, which speaks to a deep-seated insecurity inside of me. I don't feel worthy. I also don't even want a guy to make a fool out of me. Again, she's outing herself here as a cheater. But what she's also doing is letting us know that she knows she's not worth committing to when she says, I don't feel worthy. When women are laying bare their souls, they always let out a little nugget of truth amongst the delusions and lies. And Miss Horton just did it right here. In all of her articles, she is constantly opining about how she's high value and that she's worth waiting for and this and that. But every once in a while, she keeps it 100 and lets slip that she knows she's worthless outside of the 2.5 minutes of pleasure she gives to men on the regular. I see issues that don't really exist. Honestly, I hate it, she says. Every time a guy checks his phone, I think he's talking to another girl. I worry about dipping in unannounced in case I catch him with someone else. If he mentions any woman, I desperately try to act cool and unaffected. Yes, this sounds insane, but it's the truth. That's not insane at all, Amy. You're simply worried that men will pull the same BS on you that you pulled on guys back in your 20s and 30s. Can't say I blame you, but again, that's your own fault. You made your bed, sweetie. I date the sweetest guys in the world, she says, and still doubt them. It's not like I go around dating jerks or anything. I genuinely like nice dudes. This means it's even more baffling as to why I always assume they're going to run around on me. The poor guys don't stand a chance no matter how sweet and faithful and devoted they are. And now she's back to lying. Girls are never worried about nice guys cheating on them. They're nice guys. Nice guys don't cheat, and Amy knows it. Then, of course, she says, it's not like I go around dating jerks. Get the hell out of here with that. Women like Amy can't get enough of jerk boy players. But she is being a little honest here. She doesn't go around dating jerks, but it's not because she doesn't want to. It's because she can't anymore. Women are steady talking about bad boys are overrated, and I'm done with bad boys. No, sweetheart, you will never be done with bad boys, but the bad boys are most certainly done with you. I'm tired of always feeling scared, she says, but I'm not sure how to change it. I hate the fact that I can't make myself trust any man. It's not enjoyable. I don't want to live in constant terror that my heart is going to be pulverized. I hope someday I can fix the problem, but for now, I just do the best I can to control my anxiety. Oh, Amy. It's too late for you, honey. That ship sailed a long time ago. There is no fixing what you've become. You've slept around far too long with far too many guys to be mentally and physically healthy. And because you've pulverized hearts in your 20s, you're worried about men doing the same thing to you. It's that simple. So fellas, do you think there's any hope for Miss Horton? Do you think she can recover from her post-traumatic sausages disorder? Or is it too late? And ladies, when are you going to realize that once you're on the carousel, there's no getting off unless you're kicked off? Put your thoughts in the comments. And for less than the cost of an actual carousel ticket at the circus, you can get access to my daily live show, hundreds of videos not found anywhere, audio versions of my podcast so you can listen on the go, and much more. Just go to patreon.com/Donovan Sharp to get your hands on thousands of hours of life-changing content. The link is in the description.